Hey everybody, welcome to Point Being episode number 4. Here are some ideas, some thoughts I've jotted down for today. So this news story actually comes from the past, even though it's not current. It's important because some stories are still important today because no one paid any attention to them when they first came out, and the things covered in those stories are still controlling our reality. So it's important to keep talking about them. So I don't care if this news story came out 5 years ago. It's incredibly important, and plus I was drunk back then. So I have an excuse. But I wasn't really drunk. I was just hungover and wasn't sure whose apartment I was in. And then I found out whose apartment I was in, but didn't know her name. And then I found out her name, but wasn't sure why I was there. But I knew nothing had happened between us because I was not her type. I knew I wasn't her type because her type was clearly her husband, who was there and also didn't seem to know why I was on their couch. But the details aren't important, and stop prying into my life. Point being, the news story that I'm about to talk about is that the economics of ecosystems and biodiversity program, sponsored by the United Nations Environmental Program, did a study finding that no large corporation in the world would be profitable if they had to pay for their externalities. Externalities are a fancy economist word for anything the corporation causes or uses during production, such as pollution or the use of fresh water or clean soil or boy servants who are used up and then thrown into a pile to be composted. So at least they're composting. But not a single corporation would be profitable if they had to pay for what they do to our world. Think about that for a second. For example, every McDonald's hamburger requires roughly 660 gallons of water to produce. That's roughly the equivalent of 2 months' worth of your morning showers. Most of that 660 gallons per burger is obtained for free by the factory farm raising the cow. Raising, in this context, means torturing. The cow or pig is tortured for the entirety of its life, but I don't even think the UN was counting that as an externality. That's just the huge. Cows and pigs don't matter because they don't have a mortgage or pay for a Netflix subscription fee, and those are the two things that make you matter in this world. And I don't even have a mortgage, so I only half matter. Anyway, 660 gallons of water for one small hamburger. Then you have the pollution that factory farms create and, of course, don't clean up because their job is to make a profit, not fix or clean a goddamn thing, not concern themselves with what our world will look like 30 fuck all years from now. If you give them a sack of money, then they'll ignore what's happening 10 minutes from now if you ask them. They don't give a shit. Then you have the harm to the planet of the fossil fuels burned both at the farm and as the hamburger, your stupid hamburger, our stupid hamburger, is trucked across the country so that you can shove it in your stupid face as quickly as possible because your 3-year-old is crying because he didn't get the Happy Meal toy he wanted. So you scarf down your burger and then dunk the kid in that McDonald's Playland ball pit because once he sinks low enough, it muffles the screaming. That's the top secret government reason those rainbow-colored ball pits even exist. They were put there to muffle the yelps of countless toddlers because they got the blue car instead of the red one because American kids are fucking spoiled. You don't see any child soldiers in Africa crying over their toy cars, do you? No, they only cry when the guns are out of ammo. I'm not saying that's the best way to raise a kid. I'm just saying. Also, I want to know if any 3-year-olds get left in the ball pit and then have to be pulled out at the end of the week with like one of those large metal claws from like those arcade games that no one ever fucking wins. If I meet the guy who invented the metal claw game, I will shove that claw up his ass. Point being, there is an endless number of externalities that are basically either ignored or subsidized by society. We pay to subsidize these large corporations to the tune of trillions of dollars a year. Do you have any idea how much money a trillion is? It's impossible to even fathom. Here's one way to begin to envision it. Take a $100 bill, put it in your hand. Now take 100 of those. That's nowhere near $1 trillion. But now use the other hand to pick up a frying pan and pound yourself in the head because holy fuck, $1 trillion is a lot of money. Anyway, we subsidize this corporate pollution and destruction and extraction endlessly. And since this pollution and extraction is destroying the planet, i.e. climate change, plastic pollution, piles of unused out-of-work actors lining the sidewalks in LA, et cetera, we are literally subsidizing the death of the fucking planet. We pay for our own destruction. And in an added bit of hilariousness, these corporations that should not be profitable amass so much money and become so powerful that they ultimately and inevitably take over the government, which they have done. So nothing that would truly stop them gets through Congress or Parliament or the House of Lords or the Grand Council of Didgeridoos or whatever you have in your specific country. By the way, I can't imagine I'm the first to have this thought, but have you ever heard someone playing the didgeridoo and thought to yourself, didgeridoo? Could you not? Point being, we are funding our own destruction and no one talks about it. It's not on your nightly news. It's not in the newspapers. It's not in People magazine or mentioned in video games. It's nowhere. We are funding our own destruction. Well, at least if we do go extinct, it'll be while eating excellent transcontinental hamburgers. Actually, fast food is garbage. Not sure why I just said that. We're going to go extinct while sitting on the toilet going, oh, shouldn't have had the second bucket of fried chicken. Ah! Those are going to be our last words as a species. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of Point Being. Please share it and click the subscribe button and the bell icon so that they could actually occasionally maybe tell you about a fucking video I put out. Also, I'm not asking for your money, just asking for you to let other people know. Thanks a lot. Keep fighting.